concord. Today we are going to take a quick look at the rules that we have discussed for writing a verb as per the subject present in a sentence, and then a quick look at the exception and what we have to remember in case of be verbs. And the new topics that you are going to learn under subject verb concord is when you have a prepositional phrase in a sentence, what are the verb which comes in the sentence according to the subject. And the second type is the relative clause in a sentence, which makes you identify the verb that has to be used. Okay. So when we talk about the rules of subject verb concord, we know that if we have a singular subject in a sentence, the following verb is going to be singular. Noun singular, verb also singular. Nouns in singular form are written without an S, whereas verbs in singular forms are written with an S. Similarly, in case of plural verbs, we use the V1 form of verb as it is, that is verbs without S, and in case of plural nouns, we write them with an S. For example, the boys walk in the park. So the boys is the subject, which is plural. Walk is the plural verb. They walk in the park. Instead of the word, the phrase the boys, you can also replace it with the pronoun. It holds good for all the nouns and their pronouns. The exception that we use for this rule is that the pronouns I and you follow the plural verbs. They do not use the verbs with an S or ES. They just follow the V1 form of verb. Okay. So we have seen the rules of subject verb concord and also the exception for the same rule. Now we have to remember the V verbs, that is, are, and was, and were. We know that is, and are the V verbs which we use for present tense, simple present tense, and was and were are the V verbs which we use for the simple past tense. So if you remember these 5 words, which are the V verbs, we can simply follow the subject and then place the verb properly, appropriately in case of simple present and simple past tenses. And then we also have the to do list of verbs. Do you remember the do verbs? Do, don't, does, does not. Do and does are the simple form of do verb. I do, you do, we all do, they do. But he, she and it does. So do is the V1 form and its V5 form is does. Okay? So this is just a quick reminder about the to-do forms of verbs. Moving on to the prepositional phrases. So this can look a little tricky in placing the verb in a sentence. So I'm going to take a few examples and then based on the example sentences, I'll tell you how to find out the subject and which verb has to be placed in that sentence. But before that, what are prepositional phrases? That phrase in a sentence which comes immediately after the subject in a sentence. You will have a subject followed by a prepositional phrase, and then you will have the verb, and then the rest of the sentence which will contain the object. For example, like I told you, we are going to discuss this with a few examples. Before that, take a look at some of the prepositions. What are prepositional phrases? Like I told you, the prepositional phrase is called as a preposition, and then another word. More than a word which gives some meaning is called as a phrase. So preposition plus phrase plus a word is called as prepositional phrase. Some of the most commonly used prepositions are of, on, at, above, below, after, before, to, for, from, throughout, with, etc. Okay? Let's take a quick look at what are relative clauses. So clauses are that part of the sentence which can give a complete meaning in itself or can be depending on the main clause of the sentence. You have very well studied this in your 8th standard. So relative clauses are nothing but adjective clauses. And like I told you in your 8th standard, the clue to identify the relative clause in a sentence is all the relative clauses starts with any one of these adjectives. The adjectives that we use, the relative pronouns that we use are which, that, it's not adjective, it's the relative pronouns. These are the pronouns which begin the relative clause, the dependent clause in a sentence. With the help of examples, I will further explain how to place the verbs in a sentence when we have a relative clause and when we have a prepositional phrase in a sentence. The only tricky part in these two forms in a sentence is to identify the subject. There are words in the sentences which may urge you to think that they are the subject, but the real trick lies in identifying the correct subject. Okay, let's look at the examples now. Now that we are looking at some example sentences containing prepositional phrases as well as relative clauses, let's start reading them and understand and learn how to identify the subject in a sentence. The pencils dash for pen. So in this sentence, which is the subject? The pencils dash for pen. So the pencils, when we count them, we have more than one. Simple cut case, we can easily identify the pencils as a subject to be a plural subject, and then we use the be verb are. Look at the next case. Here also we have some pencils, but the sentence says the box of pencils dash for Benny. We again have to use a be verb here. The case being the box of pencils dash for penny. Do we see a preposition here? Yes. Preposition is for the pencils. What are pencils? The box of pencils. So by this way, we have to identify that the subject here in this sentence is the box containing many pencils. Dash for penny. Now we are talking about one box. So the subject here is singular. The box of pencils dash for penny. Can you say the box is for penny? Write the phrase like I told you in the previous video. Write the phrase and try to make the sentence. The box dash for penny. Now it is easy to identify the subject as box, and you name it as a singular noun. So the box of pencils is for penny. Look at the next one. A purse with 10 coins dash found in the garden. So a purse has been found. What was inside that? 10 coins. What is found? 10 coins found or a purse found? I have given a small pause in between 10 coins and purse. So the reason is a purse with 10 coins dash found in the garden. If you identify the prepositional phrase with 10 coins, what is the preposition and the object here is the coins. So what happens? What is found? A purse is found. So preposition tells something about the purse. What was there in the purse? 10 coins. Now what is found? 10 coins also found. The purse is also found. But the subject of the sentence is the purse. A purse is found in the garden. So if we did not have the word a purse and this with 10 coins dash found in the garden will easily allow you to say that 10 coins were found in the garden because we are talking about past tense. A purse with 10 coins dash found in the garden. Here children, you have to be a little careful. We have simply given the clue word to be. It is not mentioned whether the sentence is in present tense or in the past tense. So, a purse with 10 coins is found in the garden, which you can talk about just the present, or if you are narrating this to someone else, you can use was. Because the single item that is found is a purse. So, the answer can be is or was depending upon the clue that is given to you. The clue is only the, but well as was, both can be considered as the right answer. The next sentence is, some friends near my house dash speak Hindi. We have friends, correct? We have friends. And we also have some friends. Where are they near my house? This is again a prepositional phrase. Correct? So some friends mean we are talking about more than one particular person. More than one friend. So when we have plural subject, our verb is also going to be plural. So quickly identify whether it is speak or speaks. Speak is plural, speaks is singular. So, what happens? Some friends near my house speak Hindi. Some friends is also a plural subject, so we use the plural verb speak. I hope you are getting at the idea of identifying the subject. A few students in the school dash not agreed to buy laptops. Look at the action activities here. Agreement. There is some dispute about the agreement, and we have the negative word not. Okay. So agreed says that it has happened in the past. Okay. This says it is in the past. We have to look at the rest of the sentence to identify whether it has really happened in the past or it can be past perfect. Okay? A few students in the school. So we have a preposition in the school. In the school is our prepositional phrase. A few students in the school dash not agree to buy laptops. So we have a few students. A few is definitely more than one, which is not counted. So we can once again say that we have a subject which is plural. A few students in the school. Now the clue that you have is has or have. So you all know that has is the one used for singular nouns or pronouns, whereas have is used for plural pronouns as well as I and you. So a few students is plural and it is third person. So we clearly use the verb have here. A few students in the school have not agreed to buy laptops. Okay? Let's look at the remaining sentences. The watch which I received from my grandparents dash my most favorite. The word which tells us that we are talking about pronoun. What type of a pronoun? A relative pronoun. That means we are talking about relative clauses in a sentence. The watch separated which I received from my grandparents. We have grandparents here. Grandparents means grandfather as well as grandmother. Dash my most favorite. So, can you remove the unwanted words from the sentence which is causing a hindrance for you to find the subject? The watch dash my most favorite. The watch which I am talking about, that is given by my grandparents, is my most favorite. We know that the subject is the watch. The and are particularly talking about single items. So here itself we got the clue. The watch which is singular, the watch which was given by my grandparents is my most favorite. Next one. The girls who sang beautifully in the choir dash my friends. Who is your relative pronoun? The girls who. So who can be singular as well as plural. But we have here the girls. So we are talking about a plural subject here. The girls who sang beautifully in the choir dash my friends. I think you got the answer by now. We have a plural subject, so the being of that goes well with this subject is fun. The only books that I enjoyed when I was a kid dash Superman comics. Okay, we are talking about something from the past. When I was a kid. I was a kid. Was is past tense. Okay. The only books that. So we are talking about probably a plural or a singular. The only can be confusing here. The only books. But here we have books. Probably we are talking about a brand, okay, and a collection of books in the brand. The only books that I enjoyed when I was a kid. We have that and when. Okay, the only books that I enjoyed when I was a kid dash Superman comics. So you tell me whether it is going to be was or were here. Analyze this sentence and tell me whether it is going to be was or were. The only books that I enjoyed as a kid were Spider-Man comics. It is not just the only book. We are talking about many books on the whole. We are talking about one particular series of books which is called the Spider-Man comics. If you want to take a different example, you can call the only series that I watched as a child was, you can name it, frame a sentence and then put it in your grammar book. Okay, and then we will discuss in the class. So the only books, many books from a particular cartoon or a comic when I was a child were Spider-Man comics. So don't consider the word the only books means the books that I enjoyed when I was a child were the Spider-Man comics. Okay. Quickly after this, I'm going to tell you about the way of identifying errors in a sentence. You will have a sentence, something will be wrong in the sentence, and you have to correct it. Let's take a quick look at it now. I've written a small paragraph with only 3 sentences in it, children. The first and second line are sentences on their own, but the third sentence is split into 2 lines. Okay, so we are going to read every sentence and identify if there is an error in that sentence, and then we are going to correct it. So when you find an error in the sentence, you will underline that error and put that word here under the title error. And you have to write the replacement or the correction word for that wrong word, and that you will write here. Okay? Let's take a quick look at this sentence. The quality of apples are not good. Many of them is rotten. Cause of worries is that children does not know the fact. Okay, so this particular paragraph is based on subject-verb concord, so that in every sentence you identify the subject and the related verb to it. The quality of apples are not good. What are we talking about? An abstract noun here. We are talking about the quality of an apple. The quality of apple, can abstract noun be counted? No. The quality can be seen or felt if you eat. So the quality is always considered in singles. So the quality of apples, not because apples is here, R is correct. R is the wrong one. What should be the correct verb here? The quality of apples is not good. Many of them is rotten. Now we are talking about many. Many of the apples are rotten. So when you start saying the sentence in the correct way, by default you will arrive at the correct answer. So many of the apples are rotten. Is the wrong word here? Underline it. Put it under the title column of error, and correction word, that is R, should be written under correction column. Cause of worries are that children does not know the fact. So what is the cause of worry? Cause of worry is that we have only one cause of worry. That is, children are not aware of it. So here the wrong word is are, whereas the correct one should be is. Okay. Now, cause of worries is that children does not know the fact. Thus is singular or plural children. Children does not know. When we have a plural verb, a plural noun here, our verb should also be plural. So thus is wrong. Thus is the verb given for children. Children is plural. So our correction word should be do. Children do not know the fact. Cause of worries is that children do not know the fact. So if you read the sentences now with the corrected word, your paragraph is going to sound just perfect. Let me quickly read it for you. The quality of apples is not good. Many of them are rotten. Cause of worries is that children do not know the fact. With this, we are going to close the subject verb concord. I'm going to send some sample sentences for you. be completed during the weekend so that when we come back after your holidays, we are going to discuss them. Okay, children, thank you. Have a nice time. Enjoy your Dashara vacation.